The HAL Tejas catastrophe at the 2025 Dubai Air Show, India's pride reduced to ashes. Part 1. The rise of a national symbol. HAL Tejas takes flight. The year was 2025 for India. The dawn of a new era in indigenous aerospace technology was supposed to be a moment of unparalleled pride and international recognition. The HAL Tejas, a light combat aircraft developed through decades of painstaking research, innovation, and national resolve, stood ready to finally step onto the global stage. Its journey was not just about metal and fuel. It was a symbol of India's technological ambition and strategic independence. And the stage chosen for this historic debut was none other than the illustrious Dubai Air Show, a festival where the world's most advanced military aircraft took center stage amid a dazzling display of power, precision, and cutting-edge engineering. Al Maktoum International Airport was transformed into a battleground of aeronautical supremacy. The desert air shimmered with anticipation as thousands gathered under the blazing sun, eyes fixed on the runway. The crowd was a diverse mosaic from military brass and defense contractors to journalists and families who had come to witness a page in aviation history. Among the glittering VIP boxes, representatives from aerospace giants, government officials, and media moguls whispered excitedly, aware that this demonstration was more than a performance. It was a statement of India's place in the high-stakes global arms race. Wing Commander Namanj C., the pilot chosen to carry the legacy of the Tejas, was a man forged by discipline, courage, and an unwavering belief in his machine. His reputation was impeccable, a maestro of precision flying. His calm demeanor had earned him the trust of the Indian Air Force and engineers alike. Today, he was not just a pilot, but the face of a nation's dreams, soaring toward a destiny filled with both hope and scrutiny. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the runway, the silence was broken by the roar of the Tejas engines. The aircraft surged forward, a sleek silhouette blazing with the heat of afterburners, carving an aggressive path into the sky. The crowd erupted, cameras flashed, cheers echoed, and small hands waved flags. The jet's vertical climb was a breathtaking spectacle, its maneuverability designed to outshine even the most advanced Western rivals. But beneath this flawless exterior, tension crackled like static electricity. Engineers and analysts watched intently, aware that every move, every twist and turn, was a test of more than just metal. It was a trial of years of development, political will, and national pride. The flight was progressing perfectly until an ominous tremor rippled through the aircraft, unseen by the cheering masses but felt deep within the cockpit and the hearts of those monitoring on the ground. Part 2. The catastrophic failure. Flames, silence, and shattered dreams in an instant. The very skies that had witnessed the Tejas promise became the theater of an unthinkable disaster. The jet, in the middle of a precise negative G-roll, a daring maneuver meant to demonstrate its superior agility, suddenly faltered. What was supposed to be a showcase of technical mastery morphed into chaos. A sharp metallic screech pierced through the roar of engines, a sound alien and terrifying, like steel tearing apart. The aircraft shuddered violently as if an invisible force had gripped it by the wings. The nose pitched downward abruptly, wings convulsing in a desperate struggle for control. For a horrifying moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Cameras stopped clicking. The crowd fell silent, faces frozen in disbelief and terror. Wing Commander Sial's final moments remain, a mystery sealed behind encrypted data and classified reports. The cockpit voice recorder captured only fragmented sounds, commands, grunts, the rising crescendo of mechanical failure. No ejection signal, no parachute flare. The jet plummeted straight toward the tarmac with merciless speed. When the Tejas struck the runway, the impact unleashed a monstrous inferno. Flames exploded outward, engulfing the aircraft in a roaring, consuming blaze. A shockwave rippled through the stadium, rattling glass and sending spectators stumbling backward. Black smoke spiraled into the desert sky, thick and toxic, blotting out the setting sun. Burning debris rained down like deadly shrapnel. First responders sprinted toward the inferno, faces set with grim determination. But the fire burned too fiercely. The metal carcass twisted and melted beyond recognition. The crash site became a scar, a crater of scorched concrete surrounded by the acrid stench of fuel and burnt oil. The silence that followed was heavier than the flames had been, a silence of loss, grief, and unanswered questions. Speculation ran rampant. Some eyewitnesses insisted they saw fuel leaking moments before the crash, while others claimed the aircraft twitched unnaturally as if controls failed completely. Engineers whispered about possible structural fatigue, a fatal flaw hidden beneath the aircraft's sleek exterior. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories bloomed in the shadows, sabotage by rival defense firms, a cover-up to protect reputations, or a sinister hand steering events from behind the scenes. Yet the official investigation remained tightly sealed, shrouded in government secrecy and military discretion. Analysts could only piece together fragments from black box data, telemetry, and eyewitness testimony. But the final truth, the exact cause of the catastrophe, died in the fireball that consumed both pilot and machine. Part 3. Aftermath and Legacy, a nation's grief and the unfinished fight for the skies. Aftermath of the Dubai Airshow catastrophe was a complex tapestry of grief, anger, and political turmoil. India mourned the loss of Wing Commander Namanj Sial, a hero who symbolized not just a pilot's courage, but a nation's hope for aerospace sovereignty. His funeral was a somber event watched by millions, a reminder that behind every piece of machinery lies human sacrifice. The Indian government faced intense scrutiny from international observers, media outlets, and its own citizens. Questions about the Tejas program's safety standards, rushed development timelines, and possible negligence echoed through parliament and newsrooms. Defense contractors and aerospace engineers came under fire, their reputations entangled in a web of accusations and defensive statements. But beneath the headlines and political posturing lay a deeper, more profound reality: the fragile nature of technological progress. The Tejas was a marvel built from ambition and expertise, yet even the best engineering is vulnerable to the unpredictable forces of stress, fatigue, and human error. The crash forced the Indian aerospace community to confront hard truths, pushing research into new directions and safety protocols into overdrive. Internationally, the incident rippled across defense circles, influencing procurement decisions and alliances. Some countries quietly re-evaluated their stance on indigenous Indian technology, while competitors seized the moment to cast doubt on India's capabilities. Yet, amid the storm, voices of resilience emerged: engineers, pilots, and strategists vowing to learn from tragedy and rebuild stronger. The Tejas program was not abandoned but reborn with renewed vigor. Testing resumed with stricter controls, new materials, and enhanced flight simulators designed to anticipate failures that once went unseen. Wing Commander Sial's legacy was honored through scholarships, aviation safety initiatives, and memorials, a poignant reminder that progress often walks hand in hand with sacrifice. As the Dubai skies slowly healed from that fiery night, the world watched, waiting to see if India's fighter jet would rise again, not just from ashes, but from the shadows of doubt into the clear blue of global aviation power. Chapter 2: The 1986 MiG-27 crash over Rajasthan, a pilot's last mission in desert skies. The year was 1986, a time when the world stood precariously balanced between two superpowers locked in an icy Cold War rivalry. India, navigating its own path of strategic autonomy, had embraced Soviet technology as a vital pillar of its defense. Among the most formidable tools in its arsenal was the MiG-27, a heavily modified variant of the MiG-23 fighter bomber, designed to deliver precise ground strikes while retaining the fierce dogfighting capabilities required for survival in hostile airspace. Stationed in Rajasthan, at a sprawling airbase set against the endless, harsh desert, the MiG-27s represented a critical frontline defense against any threats that might loom from the west. The desert itself was a landscape of extremes, scorching daytime heat that warped the horizon, bitterly cold nights under a canopy of stars, and vast stretches of unforgiving terrain that tested both man and machine to their limits. Wing Commander Arjun Singh, the pilot chosen for what would become his last mission, was a man steeped in duty and experience. A veteran of multiple sorties and training exercises, Singh was respected by comrades and feared by adversaries. His connection to the MiG-27 was intimate. Every flight was a battle of trust between man and machine, a dance with death that required split-second decisions and nerves of steel. On that fateful day, Singh was tasked with a high-altitude reconnaissance flight followed by a complex simulated strike exercise deep within the desert. The mission was routine on paper, but the environment was anything but predictable. Engineers had cautioned pilots about the MiG-27's known quirks: sensitivity to desert sand ingestion in engines, risks of hydraulic system failures, and structural stresses exacerbated by rapid temperature shifts. As Singh taxied down the sun-baked runway, the roar of the MiG-27's engines echoed off the barren cliffs and salt flats behind the cockpit canopy. His eyes were sharp, scanning the endless horizon. Two onlookers. The mission was just another day in the life of India's defense forces, but fate had a different script written in the scorching desert air. Mid-flight, as Wing Commander Singh maneuvered through the designated training corridor, the MiG-27 began to betray subtle signs of distress. The engine sputtered briefly, a faint but ominous warning, followed by sudden fluctuations in hydraulic pressure. Singh's training kicked in instantly, his hands adjusting throttles, his eyes scanning instruments for anomalies. The desert below stretched out endlessly, but up here, the fight was between pilot skill and mechanical failure. Suddenly, a violent jolt rocked the aircraft as a hydraulic line burst, causing partial loss of control over the control surfaces. The MiG shuddered, wings twisting against aerodynamic forces. Singh struggled to stabilize the jet, relying on backup systems and sheer instinct. But the desert wind was unforgiving, buffing the weakened aircraft, pushing it toward an unplanned descent. Radio communications grew frantic, Singh's voice calm but urgent, relaying his situation to ground control. Mayday, hydraulic failure. Losing control, the clock ticked mercilessly as Singh fought the jet, determined to avoid a catastrophic crash near civilian areas. But the desert was merciless. At an altitude too low to recover, the MiG-27 spiraled downward, wings scraping against sandstone outcrops, engines howling in protest. The final moments were a blur of metal twisting, fuel igniting, and a deafening explosion that shattered the stillness of the desert. The crash site was a blackened scar against the ochre sands, wreckage strewn over acres, burning fiercely under the relentless sun. Recovery teams arrived amid choking smoke and biting heat, recovering fragments and the solemn remains of a pilot who had given his last to the unforgiving desert skies. The news of Wing Commander Arjun Singh's fatal crash sent shockwaves through India's defense establishment and the nation's conscience. A man who had devoted his life to protecting his country had been claimed by the very environment he sought to dominate. His family, comrades, and countless citizens mourned. A hero whose sacrifice was etched into the unforgiving sands of Rajasthan. The crash investigation revealed a cascade of technical failures exacerbated by environmental factors unique to desert operations. Sand infiltration had compromised engine integrity. Hydraulic lines had deteriorated under extreme temperature fluctuations, and maintenance protocols were found wanting for the challenging operating environment. The tragedy prompted an urgent overhaul of Indian Air Force procedures for desert deployments, new filtration systems, enhanced pilot training for environmental hazards, and rigorous inspection cycles. But beyond technical reforms, Singh's story became a symbol of the human cost of defense modernization. The balance between man and machine was delicate. Technology could advance only so far without acknowledging the limits imposed by nature and mortality. His fellow pilots recalled his last mission as a testament to courage and resilience, a solemn reminder that every flight carried the weight of life and death. Decades later, the 1986 MiG-27 crash remains a haunting chapter in India's aviation history, a dark reminder of the sacrifices underpinning national security and the ongoing "I struggle to master the skies above a harsh and unpredictable land." Chapter 3. The 1999 Kargil War Air Combat Loss, the MiG-21's final flight against intruders. The summer of 1999 marked a tense chapter in South Asia's volatile history. The icy peaks of the Kargil region, high in the Himalayas, became the stage for one of the most intense and perilous conflicts between India and Pakistan. This was not just a battle for territory but a struggle for honor, survival, and strategic advantage amid treacherous terrain and brutal conditions. The Indian Air Force, tasked with regaining lost ground and cutting off enemy supply lines, deployed a range of aircraft from state-of-the-art Mirage 2000s to the aging but still formidable MiG-21 fighters. The MiG-21, affectionately known as the Flying Coffin by some due to its challenging handling and age, was nonetheless a symbol of India's airborne defense legacy. Pilots revered the aircraft for its speed and agility, but it came with limitations that became dangerously evident in the hostile, mountainous airspace of Kargil. Squadrons scrambled from air bases across the northern frontier, braving unpredictable weather, thin air, and the constant threat of enemy fire. The stakes were high. Indian pilots had to execute precision strikes, often at low altitudes, to dislodge well-entrenched enemy forces occupying high-altitude bunkers. The danger was immense, as Pakistani forces wielded surface-to-air missiles and anti-aircraft guns capable of downing even the most nimble fighter jets. Among the pilots was squadron leader Rajiv Sharma, a seasoned MiG-21 pilot known for his sharp instincts and calm under fire. His missions involved providing close air support, reconnaissance, and engaging enemy aircraft when required. Despite the risks, the MiG-21s flew relentlessly, their sonic booms echoing across jagged peaks and frozen valleys. The war's intensity escalated rapidly. On one fateful day, during a sortie over Tiger Hill, squadron leader Sharma's MiG-21 engaged hostile aircraft in a desperate dogfight, pushing the limits of man and machine in the rarefied mountain air. This confrontation would become etched in the annals of Indian aviation history as one of the final, costly air combat losses in a war that tested the country's resolve to its very core. As squadron leader Sharma climbed into the stratosphere above Kargil, the stakes could not have been higher. Enemy radar had detected the incoming strike force, and Pakistani fighters scrambled to intercept. The thin mountain air tested the MiG-21's engines, while jagged peaks limited maneuvering space, turning the sky into a deadly cage. The dogfight erupted swiftly and violently. Sharma's MiG-21 locked onto an adversary, a Pakistani F-16, superior in technology and weaponry but less familiar with the treacherous terrain. The battle was a deadly chess game, with missiles streaking, evasive maneuvers twisting through narrow valleys, and the roar of engines reverberating against snow-capped peaks. Despite the MiG-21's age, Sharma pushed his fighter jet to the brink, engaging in close quarters combat that relied on pilot skill as much as the aircraft's capabilities. The MiG's smaller frame allowed brief moments of agility, darting behind enemy jets, launching heat-seeking missiles, and attempting risky barrel rolls to evade lock-ons. But fate is rarely kind in war. During a critical maneuver, Tejas Mk1 took a direct hit from a surface-to-air missile launched from a concealed enemy position. The impact was sudden and catastrophic. The cockpit exploded into flames, instruments shattered, and control was lost in those final seconds. The mountain winds carried the echo of a life extinguished, a brave pilot, whose last flight was a testament to valor and sacrifice. The wreckage was scattered across a steep ridge, discovered days later by Indian forces pushing forward in the conflict. The loss of squadron leader Rajiv Sharma sent ripples through the Indian Air Force and the nation. His sacrifice was mourned not just as the loss of a pilot, but as a symbol of the high cost of defending a fragile peace in a hostile environment. His family received honors and remembrance, but no words could fill the void left by a man who had soared so bravely into the jaws of war. The Kargil conflict itself underscored the importance of modernizing India's air combat capabilities. The MiG-21s, though heroic and durable, were increasingly outmatched by newer technology. Sharma's death accelerated plans for upgrading fleets, improving pilot training for mountain warfare, and acquiring more advanced multi-role fighters capable of withstanding modern threats. Yet the MiG legacy endured, a rugged workhorse flown by generations of Indian pilots who faced death with unwavering resolve. In the dusty archives of the Indian Air Force, stories of dogfights, sacrifices, and brotherhood are etched alongside the rusting frames of retired jets. The Kargil war air combat losses, especially that of squadron leader Sharma, serve as a stark reminder that every piece of metal in the sky carries human hopes, fears, and the ultimate price. The mountains still stand silent witnesses to battles fought above, and the skies still echo the memory of those final flights into the unknown. Chapter 4. The 2008 Sukhoi Su-30MKI Madeira collision. When advanced technology meets human error. By 2008, India had stepped confidently into a new era of air dominance. The Sukhoi Su-30MKI, a multi-role air superiority fighter, was the crown jewel of this revolution. A powerful, highly advanced aircraft built to assert India's dominance in the increasingly complex aerial warfare landscape of South Asia. Developed in collaboration with Russia's Sukhoi Design Bureau and fitted with indigenous avionics, thrust vectoring engines, and cutting-edge radar systems, the Su-30MKI was a technological marvel. It could perform vertical climbs, complex maneuvers, and sustain supersonic speeds with unparalleled agility. Pilots were trained rigorously, mastering not only the machine's capabilities but also the psychological and physical stresses of modern air combat. On a clear day in early 2008, two Su-30MKIs of the Indian Air Force took off from their base for a routine formation flight and tactical exercise. Squadron leader Vikram Rao and Flight Lieutenant Arjun Mehta, both decorated pilots, were at the controls. The skies were perfect, blue.com, and seemingly infinite. Their mission was straightforward: formation flying, simulated combat drills, and precision maneuvers. Yet, as their jets climbed higher, executing intricate turns and rolls, the perfect conditions masked a growing tension, a human factor, a moment of miscalculation that would turn a routine exercise into tragedy. As the flight progressed, Squadron Leader Rao and Flight Lieutenant Mehta executed a synchronized maneuver known as the crossover break, a complex aerial dance requiring perfect timing and spatial awareness. This maneuver involved each aircraft crossing paths at high speed, changing formation with a split-second window for clearance. In those critical seconds, a slight misjudgment, a hesitation, a miscalculated angle proved catastrophic. Flight Lieutenant Mehta's jet clipped the wingtip of Rao's Su-30MKI. The two massive fighters, each with a wingspan exceeding 14 meters and carrying thousands of kilograms of fuel and armaments, collided mid-air. The sound of metal scraping metal filled the cockpit as the aircraft violently shook. Control systems failed in one plane, while the other lost hydraulic pressure. Alarms blared. The pilot's training kicked in, but chaos reigned in the thin air thousands of meters above the ground. Rao managed to eject safely, his parachute opening against the vast expanse of blue below. Mehta, however, was trapped inside a spiraling aircraft that eventually crashed into a remote forested area. Rescue teams scrambled, racing against time to locate and recover the pilots. The accident stunned the Indian Air Force and the defense community worldwide. How could a technologically superior aircraft, piloted by elite aviators, fall victim to a fatal error born not of machines but of human frailty? The aftermath of the 2008 mid-air collision was a sobering chapter in India's aviation history. Investigations revealed that despite the Su-30MKI's advanced fly-by-wire controls, the accident resulted from pilot error compounded by miscommunication and spatial disorientation during the maneuver. The inquiry board emphasized the importance of enhanced pilot training, especially in formation flying under complex conditions. It also sparked debates on the psychological pressures faced by pilots, fatigue management, and the need for improved cockpit automation to reduce human error. Flight Lieutenant Arjun Mehta's death was mourned as a tragic loss of talent and dedication. His sacrifice highlighted that no matter how advanced technology becomes, the human element remains a critical vulnerability in aviation. The Indian Air Force responded by upgrading protocols, investing in simulators that replicated near-miss scenarios, and fostering a culture where pilots could openly discuss errors to prevent future tragedies. The incident served as a harsh reminder that in the skies, the margin between mastery and disaster is rare. Chapter 5. The 2015 Tejas Mk1 prototype crash, early warnings ignored. In 2015. The HAL Tejas Mk1 prototype symbolized the culmination of decades of India's dreams for an indigenous light combat aircraft, a beacon of self-reliance and technological progress. The program had weathered years of setbacks, delays, and skepticism, but it stood on the cusp of proving itself on the global stage. This single-seat, multi-role fighter was expected to replace aging MiG-21s and mark India's entry into the elite club of nations producing modern warplanes. The aircraft was equipped with state-of-the-art avionics composite materials and designed for agility in close combat as well as precision strikes. The prototype's test flights had showcased promise: rapid climbs, sharp maneuvers, and stable performance in varied conditions. Yet beneath the public optimism, whispers of concern had begun to circulate among engineers and test pilots. Reports pointed to structural weaknesses, avionics glitches, and engine overheating problems. Quietly flagged but never fully addressed due to intense political pressure to meet deadlines. On a clear morning in late 2015, Wing Commander Anil Kapoor, a veteran test pilot, climbed into the cockpit for what was supposed to be a routine evaluation flight. The mission aimed to push the Mk1 to its limits, testing high G turns, rapid climbs, and advanced weapons systems integration. The ground crew and engineers monitored the telemetry anxiously as the Tejas surged down the runway, engines roaring with fierce determination. For a brief moment, everything seemed flawless. The jet responded with precision and speed, ascending into a crisp blue sky. But as the flight progressed, subtle warning signs emerged. Midway through the test flight, the aircraft began to exhibit alarming behavior. Wing Commander Kapoor reported erratic control responses and engine temperature spikes. Warnings blinked on the instrument panel, but the aircraft pressed on, constrained by mission demands and pressure to meet stringent flight test schedules. Suddenly, during a high-G maneuver, the Tejas Mk1's right wing experienced a catastrophic structural failure. A loud, sickening crack echoed through the cockpit as the wing flexed beyond design limits. The jet lurched violently, controlled surfaces losing responsiveness, and alarms blared incessantly. Kapoor's instincts took over. He initiated emergency protocols, attempting to stabilize the aircraft. The telemetry data showed rapid loss of altitude and control authority. Realizing the imminent danger, Kapoor ejected moments before the plane spiraled uncontrollably toward the ground. The crash site, located near the test facility, was a chaotic scene of twisted metal, burning debris, and thick black smoke rising into the sky. Emergency responders rushed to the site but found no survivors among the wreckage. The pilot was safe, thanks to timely ejection, but the prototype was destroyed as investigators arrived. The scene quickly became a focal point for scrutiny. The Tejas Mk1's failure raised difficult questions about ignored technical warnings, potential design flaws, and the costs of political and industrial pressure on safety. The aftermath of the 2015 crash plunged the Tejas program into crisis. Investigations revealed a troubling pattern of ignored warnings and compromised safety checks. Engineers testified that repeated structural stress tests indicated vulnerabilities in the wing design, but project deadlines and budget pressures delayed critical redesigns. The government and HAL officials faced intense criticism for prioritizing timelines over thorough testing. Media scrutiny exposed gaps in communication between designers, pilots, and decision-makers, a chain broken by ambition and external pressures. Yet, the tragedy also sparked a turning point. New protocols were implemented, focusing on rigorous safety audits, independent review boards, and enhanced pilot feedback mechanisms. The Tejas Mk1's successor models incorporated reinforced structures, upgraded avionics, and improved materials technology. Wing Commander Anil Kapoor became an outspoken advocate for pilot safety, urging transparency and continuous evaluation in military aviation projects. His survival and testimony highlighted the human element behind every machine, the lives at risk when warnings go unheeded. Today, the legacy of the 2015 crash serves as both a cautionary tale and a catalyst for growth, reminding India's aerospace community that progress without prudence can be a perilous path.